Hi everyone, it's Nicole here from My Dear Charlie, and I'm finally back and almost completely set up after our big move. Today I'm going to share with you a collaboration with Polka Art Studio, which I will put the links for their Etsy store, Instagram, Facebook, etc. in the comments below. Today what I'm actually doing is a tutorial. This is part of a 3-part set. There's like a storage box slash storage caddy. There's a Christmas journal, and there is also an advent calendar. But today we're just concentrating on putting the stand, caddy, box, whatever you want to call it, together. So in this, you get the printables that go around the perimeter of the box. So we've got the front, we have the sides. This goes on a divider inside the box. And this one I'm putting inside the back of the box. I'm not actually going to decorate the back of the box because I really don't think anyone would see it. You could put that on the back if you wanted to. And these ones here, these designs here, these will line the inside of the box. For the outside, I'm actually using a gorgeous linen fabric, which I've backed with tissue paper. Made it kind of like a book cloth. So that's what I'll be using for the outside. So what you need is you will need this kit here, which, like I said, it will come with also the journal and the advent calendar, which I will get this done first, and then I will get on to, I have started the journal, I've started printing off some pages, etc., but I don't have it all ready to go to continue that today. This will be long enough on its own. So the good thing with this, on each piece you'll see there's a note, and it tells you what size you need to cut your chipboard bases. I've used about 2.1 millimeter thick chipboard. I think that they've used like 1.5. It's not really going to matter. You just use what you've got. If you need to trim a bit, it shouldn't matter. If you just stick to the size guides, then it should all go together really well. So I'm going to put that aside because we don't need that for now. But I do have everything pre-prepared, so you don't have to sit and painstakingly watch me cut tape and gussets, etc. So we have, I'll just get all this out. We have our left and our right side. That's our divider. That's going to go in last. We have our base and we have our front. Now what I'm going to do, there's a couple of different ways you can do this to actually get it all together and joined up from the outside. I'm using Tyvek tape. I love this Tyvek tape. It's super strong, it sticks really well, it just holds it really well. This is another one I've already started on. And you can see just with the tape and then cardstock gussets, it's a really, really firm, strong box. I really would recommend that you use chipboard. If you're using like recycled cereal boxes or biscuit boxes or things like that, I would do several layers because you do want it nice and firm because it is going to hold the journal and the advent calendar. So I'm going to get a start. What I'll do is I'll flip that over. I do have all of my tapes cut to size. So what I'll do, I'll just start popping these on and show you. This is how I put them together. You feel free to put it together however you choose. So about halfway. It's a bit less. You might see that these side bits are a little bit wider, and I'll explain that in a second, how that comes about. But again, you just choose the best way for you, and I will give you an alternative way of doing this also. I want to get on a bit straighter than that. Okay, yep, they're fine. Now if you use Tyvek tape, you do want to make sure that you burnish it down really nicely. It sticks really well. At first you'll think, oh gee, that's not too, you know, it doesn't stick too well, but it does. Once it's all on there, it sticks really, really well. I use it in a lot of my projects. Oh, I stuck it a bit too far over there. And the last base piece. So I'm sticking these on like this because then we're going to stick the bottom of the sides on. Alright. And of course the last one wants to be the difficult one. Let's turn it around. I find it easier from the opposite side. Again, we'll burnish that down nicely. I'm trying to stay in frame for you. Okay, so now that we've got those on, we can start sticking the sides, etc. on. Now the way I do this is I will line it up like that. Now, like I said, these end bits are a little bit longer because what you want is for these side bits to be a little bit longer than that. So when you fold it all up, you get a nice neat corner. So what you do is, yep, I had it the wrong way then. I have actually written everything and put arrows so I know where it needs to go. So you want, okay, so I put it like that and then I'll lay it down. So that's going to give the perfect gap so when I pick it up. So as you can see, these pieces here are a little bit wider. So when you put these, the back and the front on, they will fit inside and you'll get that nice square corner. And we'll do the other side. Now you do want to be fairly accurate in your measuring of these pieces because that's where it all comes down to it all fitting together nice and squarely. Okay, so we've got our sides. Now we're going to do our back, which is the same width as the base. Now the base and the back panel are actually the same size. So just remember that when you're cutting them, there's actually not a measurement for the base, but it's the same size as your back panel. Sorry if there's a bit of shadow going on here. It's kind of getting on in the day. I've been trying to get this video done for a few days now and it's been really overcast and we've had lots of people deciding that it's a good time to mow their lawns when I want to do a video. How dare they? No, only joking. We actually had ours mowed earlier in the week, so I hope no one else was trying to do anything to that disturb them. Okay, so we're just going to turn it back over and we're just going to burnish all of that. No one's going to see any of this when it's covered, so you don't need to be too pedantic about it, even though, I don't know, I kind of am. I try not to be, but it's just how I roll. Okay, so we've got that done. So what I'm going to do now is I have all my pieces cut for these as well, so I can join them all together. So I will, again, I'll just move that out of the way. I'll try and stay in frame for you. Just going to, again, sort of burnish them as I go. I find it a lot easier to stick them all on at one time. Flip it around. This is actually my second try of getting this video done. I was doing it the other day and it just got too noisy. So I just finished off the other one that I showed you before, and I thought I'll just cut another one because I can decorate the other one even for another project. Finish that. Oh, come on. There we go. And burnish that down. Okay, so we'll flip it back over now. So this is our front. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand up the side, and you'll see that tucks nicely in there, and then that will tuck nicely into there. And we're just going to tape that around there. I'll just do that with my fingers for a second. Okay, and then we're going to flip that up, and maybe that one's a bit long, that's okay. Like I said, no one's going to see any of this once it's all covered. Now I do recommend, like when you make something like this, it is good to pre-prepare and get everything cut to size. Just makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker to move along when you're actually putting it all together. And see how you've got that really nice corner with everything tucked in? Let's get that. Oh, bit burnish. And then the same with the back. That will fit nicely into there. we go. Actually, I'll just do that first, otherwise I'll end up sticking it to my mat. Okay. Finish that down. I might just trim that excess off because I prefer to not have extra bits when I'm covering it. I mean, I could just stick them down, but like I said, I kind of probably am a little bit on the fussy side when it comes to finishing things off. There we go. It's a bit jaggedy and rugged, but that's okay. That will all trim down, sit down, I should say. Okay, now they're all stuck on my finger. Get rid of that. So as you can see already, that's a pretty sturdy box. Now what we do want to reinforce the inside. I might just turn another light on. It's sort of kind of quite dark. So give me one sec. Oh, wrong switch. Let's see if that's helped at all, or is that just making it even more shadowy? Maybe turn that one off. I am sorry that it's quite dark. If I hold it that way, it's fine. But yeah, like I said, you can see that's a fairly sturdy box. Now what we want to do is, again, I have all of these pre-cut. These are just cardstock, like gussets, and they're going to go in the sides, in the base. Oh, this light's kind of really annoying me. Let's just see if I can fix it up a little bit better. Let's see how that is. Is that any better? Not really. What a terrible time of day to have to do it, but it's the only time I have at the moment. But as you can see, they will all fit in like so and what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they will make it even more sturdy. So I'll take that back out, and I just use my favourite glue. I'll put that out the way just for one sec, which is just the Helmer's 450 quick dry adhesive, which I believe, like if you're in America or the countries that get beacon, this would be similar to your 3-in-1, I would imagine. In Australia we don't have beacon here, but we have this. It's an Australian company, and I just absolutely love this glue. I use this one, I use their fabric glue, I use their professional, I don't know, I guess paper craft kind of glue. I'm just going to put another mat on top because I don't want to get glue on this particular mat. So I'll pop that there. And now we're just going to start gluing these gussets on the inside of the box. Just spread it out a bit. So that one goes in here in the base. Again, I'll just give that a burnish. I'll try and hold it on angles where you're actually going to be able to see. I think I need to put a light above. This is a new studio as we've moved. Doesn't get a great deal of daylight, but when it's the right light, it is actually a really good light. I'll put the other side. So now these strips here, I've cut them at 1.5 inches and I've scored them straight down the middle at 3/4 of an inch. Now I miter the ends at a 45-degree angle. I just find that it's best to not have too much bulk in the corners because you are going to be lining the inside of the box and it can start looking a bit messy when you've got big bulky corners in there. Again, just my preference. You do what, you know, you do what suits you. I think if you haven't made a box before, this is a pretty good one to start with because there's not too, look, with any boxes, it's really not much to it. Once you've done one or two, you kind of get the gist and you'll be able to just, you know, figure things out to make them the size that you want. So if you don't have Tyvek tape, you can also do this on the outside corners, which in retrospect, that could actually save time. I'm covering it with fabric because I like using fabric. But if you just do this on the outside and make sure that you get the ends cornered or angled at 45 degrees, I actually have a little tool which I'll show you in a minute, which I will also link that in the description, that I use to get that 45 degrees. Okay, and you can just see that's just a really nice fit and there's no bulk in the corners. Just push that one down a bit. And when you're measuring these gussets, you just use the base and, you know, measure them to the length and then the depth. Don't do it by the side pieces because these ones are a bit longer and then they'll be a bit too long. Now the inside of the box, I will not be fabric lining. So that's why I've cut them at this size, because it's just going to fill all the edges and then I can just put the paper on the sides and you'll have that border, that red border around it. Okay, so that's all of those in. There's the base. You see it's a really nice, neat finish. And that's what you want. You want a nice, neat finish. Hang on one second. Oh, excuse me. I've got the heater going. It's a bit chilly out here. I'm just thankful that I have a heater out here. Now these bits are for the uprights here. So so that's why they're flat at the top. They don't need to be mited. And it would help if I opened my glue. It comes out a lot easier. Okay. Push that down. Give that a burnish. Now you don't need to worry if it doesn't come up to the top there. That doesn't matter because I'll be folding the fabric over that. Even if you're using all cardstock, it's not going to matter because you're still going to need to put a piece over that raw edge and that will cover that up just fine. Okay, that's one corner done. So as you can see, it's a pretty easy process. Once you've, I keep closing it and then trying to glue. Yeah, like I was saying, it's a pretty easy process. Once you figure out how you want to make it, you may have different ways of putting your boxes together, and that's totally fine. You just do what's best for you. Glue on there. Doesn't matter. Going to be covered. Okay, onto the back ones. Now I'm not going to show how I decorate it. I'll give a quick explanation of what I am how I did go about it. But everybody can do their own thing when it comes to decorating. Like I said, I'm going to wrap this in the book cloth that I made, and then the artwork I will just stick onto the fabric, and then I think I will hand stitch around using saddle stitch and maybe a gold thread. I love saddle stitch and I like hand stitching, so I'll give that a go. Okay, nearly done. Last corner. And there we go. All fit in there nicely. And it, like I said, it's about having a nice finish. Even if I was making this for myself, or anything I make for myself, I don't do any differently to something that I may sell. I like to do my best with making things as strong and as structural as possible, whether it's a box, whether it's a journal, no matter what it is. All right, so that is the box. So as you can see, that is really strong. And again, by the time I wrap with fabric, so all I will do is I want to do it so the seam is in the back, and then I will just glue it all on, and then I will cut. That will all be tucked over, it will be all cut properly, and then the artwork will go on. So I'm not going to stick the divider in just yet because I want to wrap the fabric and get the hand stitching done, because if I pop the divider in, there's no way I'm going to be able to get my hands in there to hand stitch. So the divider will go in, say, around here. And again, the same, that's all going to go in with the cardstock gussets. So that's going to be nice and strong too. So what I will do is I'm not going to line any of the inside until that is in, which I will do hopefully tomorrow. I will come back and do a part 2, and I will show how I wrap with the fabric. But what I was explaining before too about the tape, I've got some little bits that I was just mucking around with cut here. If you use cardstock, do it the same size, do at least 1.5 inch width, and miter the corners at 45 degrees. So then when you stick it down, you've got a really nice fit. And then when you stick your design on, you're not going to have all like a build up of bulk in the corners. So if you see, if that's mitered properly, which that is, they all fit really nicely, and it looks really, really neat, except for that pencil line across there. And then you could just burnish the corner just to finish it off. So that's another great way of doing it. I would have done it that way if I was just using all paper, but because I'm using fabric, I just use the Tyvek tape. Now the tool I was talking about before, it's called the Magic Triangle. This is from a book artist. Well, he's a silversmith, he's a painter, just makes incredible everything. His name is Sage Reynolds. You can find him on Instagram. He has a website, but I will link everything in regards to that below also. He's in America, I'm in Australia, obviously the accent, but he sends or ships these worldwide. It's a perfect 45 degree angle, and the way that it works is it's got this lip here, which is fantastic, so you're always going to get it nice and straight. I've got a little bit here, so what you would do is, because you want to cut it that way, you just pop that under right to the corner. It's kind of short, that, but anyway, it will give you an idea. Maybe if I do that, yep. All right, now I wouldn't cut on this because it would just make a big sort of mess. If you've got it cut to exact length, you would just do it so that the triangle meets the corner. You can just rule across there. Get your scissors and cut, and then you have that perfect 45 degree angle. So when you are doing, whether it's the inside of the box or it's the outside of the box, you're going to have that really, really nice finish. I did have just a normal one from an office, or Office Works here in Australia, but I just found because you haven't got that edge on it, it didn't always sit straight, but that's just me. I just find this a lot easier. It's a small investment and it just saves me personally a heap of time. I will also link, he has a page where it just shows exactly what you can do. Like if you're working inside a box and you're using fabric inside a box, you know, you can put your fabric in under there, and then you can just use a good thin craft knife, and you can cut your fabrics in there, and then you have perfectly mitered, you know, corners in other, you know, inside the box. There's just, yeah, and he shows different ways of cutting corners, you know, on the bottoms as well. Like once you fold it over, again, you can just run it along. If you don't want to cut it directly on there, you could just mark it with a pencil or some kind of pen and cut it, and then again, perfectly mitered corners. So look, I'm not affiliated in any way, shape or form, but I do love this little tool. So much easier, and it's already done, and I know it's a perfect 45-degree angle. So there you go. So what I will do, I will leave it at that for now. I'll try and sort of hold it on this angle so it's not too shadowy. But as you can see, that's all really nice and neat in there. And then once I put my design papers in there, it's all just going to be super neat. What I will do, like I said, I will leave it at that. I will come back and do a part 2 where I wrap the fabric. I'll stitch on the designs, and I will put the divider in. I'm still figuring out, I probably will put the divider in before I fold the fabric over, because I can cut the fabric to go around the divider. That way I think it will look a lot neater. So yeah, I'm still thinking on that one, but I think that's the way I'm going to go with this. But anyway, thanks again for your time. I hope that was informative for you, and I'll be back with a part 2. Take care. Bye for now, and happy crafting.